What's up? What's up? What's up? Hello, my beautiful people. Welcome back to the Bibliophile Hour. I am your host slash cousin, Erica the Bibliophile. And we are back for part 2 of Jholee Kiandre against the In His Good Girl. And I'm just ready to get right into it and have this discussion with y'all. Let's go. Previously on the last episode, we ended the first book with Jholee, unfortunately, about to be attacked by a group of half-naked men in this hotel room in Dubai. And the second book starts with her being curled up in a corner and then TK standing over her telling her to get her stupid self up. So she was never going to be actually harmed. This was actually a scheme set up by Todd to hit us with the bullshit. TK set this up to teach her a lesson. The guy that she was talking to on Instagram was a real person, but he's a client of Sensations, which, if you don't remember, is the the sex store run by his parents that is actually a front for a prostitution ring. So as soon as Jholee contacted him, he passed along the information to TK and his family. And she says, so who is JISAF? And that was him. And that was an acronym for Jholee is stupid as fuck. Which she was. Because it's just like, yeah, you want to help out your family. So you feel like you can sell your virginity and get your family this money. But you don't know who you're actually talking to. I don't think they ever FaceTimed. They just wrote through Instagram. And it's just like, you don't know what you're walking into. So this could have very well been your life. And TK tries to explain that to her. Like, not unfortunately, fortunately, this was me. But this could have very well happened to you if I hadn't have been able to intercept it. And so Jholee apologizes, admitting that she wasn't ready, which she knew she wasn't. She just wants to help her family. And it's like, that's understandable, but girl, you could really end up getting yourself hurt. And that just ain't the move. So they start talking about former family vacations because this is her first time in Dubai. And like a revelation hits her, and she calls her dad to ask if he ever took Jholee Jr. on any vacations. And Jholee Sr. admits that all the family vacations that they took, Jholee Jr. and his mama Vanessa were on those same vacations. They were just on the other side of whatever location they were at, which to me is fucked up. Because it's just like, and it's not fucked up for him to be there, but it's just like, for me as your daughter to think I have this one life, like everything's cool, everything's great. But then you got this woman and her son like hidden off to the side. And unfortunately, Vanessa is killed off, because I would have liked to see how Bianca wrote that in. It's like, how did Vanessa do with being kept a secret? Like, you had this man's son and y'all were really like a little family on the side. And that was something that also was never discussed that I would have liked Bianca to get into. Because it's just like, Jholee Sr. says he was just there for his son, but it's like, no, y'all were like you had another family. It was no light. Like, you had another family that you hid very well until you almost died. And so, anyway, they are staying in Dubai. TK tells her he wants everything that she promised the guy she thought she was talking to through Instagram, which includes a pole dance. And after the pole dance, he ends up taking her virginity. And on the way, like, they've made it home, and on the way to Jholee's house, she awkwardly still asks him for the money, which pisses TK off because now he's thinking she was after the money all along, which doesn't make sense because it's like, just because I slept with you and, we vibing, that didn't stop my troubles, like my family troubles with us needing money. Like, very much set it off. I need that money. So it's just like, you can be mad at me, but like, do I get my money or nah? And so he writes her a check, and then after he gives her the check, telling her to block him on everything, every social media site, block his phone number, they're done. And so, and he also like puts her out of his truck, which is also fucked up. It's just like, and in this situation, TK, you're the older man. You can't talk about this. You can't express what actually has you upset because Jholee wanted to talk about it. She's like, what did I do wrong? And he's just like, nah, block me on everything. Don't talk to me no more. It's whatever. Here go your money. You good, shorty. And it's just like, are you really, like, you are mad, but you're mad about the wrong thing. And you a grown-ass man. You can't discuss this with her. So Jholee goes to her dad's office and gives him the $200,000 check. Jholee hasn't left her room for 3 days after TK cuts her off. And I think he's 31 and she's 20. So there's an 11-year, I don't have the math right, but it's 10 to 11 years that's between them. And it's just like, of course she's going to feel this way about him just, basically paying her dust. And he's being petty, posting subliminals on Instagram. And he also posts a picture of him and Cheyenne with the caption, "Been about you." And this is where my pettiness comes in, because I'd have posted a picture or two like, you been about her? When have you been about her? That night you brought me back to your house and you ate me out? When have you been about her? When you was double dating with my so-called best friend? When I was also on a date with my man and we double dated together? When have you been about Cheyenne? Nigga, you're never about Cheyenne if we want to be honest. But now that you in your feelings thinking I was after you for some money, oh, now you been about her. Okay, be about her then. And Lynetta comes into her room and tells Jholee she doesn't really have feelings for TK. He was just her first. And it's just like, Rick, can you just be a mom for 1 second, Lynetta? Damn. It's just like, your daughter, you know how it is to be with your friend. Well, I don't, because mine wasn't like that. I was going to say, let me not try to play him. We didn't have feelings for each other like that. It's just like, it was my first time, boom, bam, whatever. But the story always goes like, you never get over your first. He's your first. So, of course, she's going to feel away. But even before they slept with each other, she was kind of crushing on TK hard. And you just come in her room after she's been locked up in there for 3 days and says, you don't really have feelings for him. He was just your first. Like, can you at least talk her through it instead of just basically telling her to get over it? It's like, comfort me. I need to be held. Like, be my mom for a second instead of just trying to toughen me up. And she also tells her she needs to get over it, and if she's pregnant, she will be getting an abortion. And like, I'd have been ready to fight. I know I keep saying I'd be ready to fight, but I would be. And mom or not, it's just like, you coming at her mad rude. You ain't trying to give her no advice, no comfort, no nothing. Just basically, this is what you need to do and this is what you're gonna do, and we're just gonna move forward. And it's like, if that's the case, I would have been like, how you gonna tell me I need to get over somebody I just had sex with? He was my first. I could tell you that you need to get over the fact that dad cheated and he had an outside baby. But I'm not doing that to you. 2 years later, you still get your grief off, and it's only been 3 days for me, and now I got to get over it. And if I do have a baby, then I'll be getting an abortion. I don't think so. That girl is 20 years old. She is grown. She can make her own decisions. If she felt like she wanted to move out of your house and but raise her baby by herself, she could do that. I do not like that. Like, she is just such... Ooh, she is a terrible mama. And TK has been on a rampage lately. He's been dodging texts from Cheyenne and Riley, but has a new horse in the stable, Nazima. Which is so crazy, because it's just like, well, we'll get to that later. He talks to his dad about Jholee, who makes him realize that Jholee's family didn't stop needing money just because he has feelings for her. Like I said earlier. It's like, unfortunately, like, she went to Dubai on a mission. Just because you were there to actually save her does not stop the mission. Jholee and her family need that money. And who's to say that she didn't have feelings for, or doesn't have feelings for you as well? But like I said, I'm like, you're 10 years older than her. Y'all could have talked about this. And so he talking to his dad made him realize that. And then he gets a call from the bank that Lynetta is attempting to cash the check. So this puts him back in his feelings again, because all this time the check hasn't been cashed. So he probably thought she just ripped it up and really did have feelings for him. But as soon as he got that phone call and gave them permission to cash the check, he's back to not caring about Jholee. And Jholee is constantly checking his Instagram, and she sees a comment from a girl on a post that she thought was meant for her, because it's him listening to the song that she danced for him to in Dubai. So she's thinking like he's sending a subliminal to her, but it's actually just him playing a song. And the girl, who turns out to be Nazima, comments and says, "You remember my favorite song." So Jholee starts following Nazima, which I'm not doing all that. I'm sorry. Even if I am crazy about you and I got feelings for you and I feel a way about you ignoring me or cutting me off, I'm not damn about to go follow a chick just because she commented on a post. Like, Jholee, you making yourself look crazy, baby. And Octavia tells her to just leave him alone. Like, she did try to warn her from the beginning, like, you're not ready for a man like TK, which she wasn't. Like, Jholee was very sheltered and led one life, and TK is too much for her. And Lynetta invites Major over to cheer Jholee up, but after like Jholee sends Major home, she tells Lynetta, like, please don't interfere in my relationships. And Lynetta tries to catch an attitude with her, like, excuse me for trying to help you out. It's like, you're excused. I don't need your help, Mom. Let me mope and let me get myself together. Why would you call him over, bring him up? Like, and that's another thing. Like, how do you even know to get in contact with him to invite him over? They was never really serious like that for Lynetta to have any kind of information on Major to invite him over. And Jholee just asked her, like, please do not interfere in my personal business anymore. I got it handled. And of course, Lynetta tries to take that as disrespect, but it's like, once again, it's not disrespect. I can talk to you and ask you to let my business be my business. Jholee Sr. takes Jholee to a rundown building, and it used to be his parents' chicken shack. They had 3 locations, so they used to have a booming family business. He had plans of taking over for them when he got out the game. So at one point, when Lynetta was pregnant with Jholee, they were receiving a lot of threats because, you know, Jholee was heavy in the drug game and people were after him. So Jholee Sr. made her stay with his parents while he was running the streets. And supposedly back in the day, his parents made the best wings. There was a special family recipe that everybody knew and that just made the business so great. His mother was murdered in a drive-by, and he thinks that Carter, TK's dad, is one of the men involved, but Carter had an alibi, so it could not have been him. And Jholee Sr.'s father shut everything down after his wife died, and moved into a retirement home. And this is when Jholee finds out that her grandfather is still alive. And she finds out that her dad also has a brother and sister. And he wants to open the restaurant back up in honor of his mom. But because he was running the streets back in the day, and, really up until he got into that accident, they blame him, saying it's his fault. Them people came there looking for him and they shot his mom. So he's cut off from his side of the family. Jholee has been repeatedly calling and texting TK, even told him that she loved him, but he hasn't responded. And for some crazy reason, she has his and Nazima's notification alerts on Instagram. So anytime they post anything, she's getting an alert to her phone, and that makes no sense. I could see excuse me. I could see TK, but there's no reason for Jholee to have Nazima, like, one, for you to even be following her, then to have notifications on to get anything that she posts. But the fact that she does, she sees when Nazima posts TK chain, and that puts her in her feelings. So remember that Jholee is a dancer, and it's the night of her recital with her young girls that she teach. TK and his family is there because they have a little cousin performing. So after the program is over, Major and TK start to approach Jholee at the same time. And when she sees both of them coming, she just hides in her dad's chest. But I wouldn't have. I'd have waited and let them both walk up to me. It's like, what you hiding for? This one ain't spoke to you in how long? You've been calling and texting. He ain't had nothing to say to you, sis. You even told the man you loved him. Nothing to say. You ain't even really feeling Major like that. So it's like, really? And you single. Sis, you got options. What you hiding for? And Nazima is also there, and she walks up to TK, calling him baby, and asks him why he didn't tell her that he would be there, because they could have rode together. And TK is feeling a way about this because it's not even like that with them for her to walk up to him and basically try to put a claim on him like that. So Jholee attempts to walk off with Major, but TK tells him that he has to get back to work. And it's like, and Jholee begs him. She says, please, don't let him take you away from me. But Major leaves because TK is putting food on his table. It's like, that's your boss. You can't outright disobey your boss. So he leaves. And she leaves with her family. And as they're in the car, TK texts her that an Uber is waiting for her to bring her to him. And I still don't understand why she got in the car. Like, I would have read that text message and left him on red. Ain't no way. Like, like I just said, I've been calling you, been texting you, been trying to get in contact with you. And you have no words for me. Nothing. But now that you see me with somebody else, now you got a Uber waiting for me? All right, let that Uber wait and let you waste your money. I won't be there, sweetheart. But of course, because she's in love and she's young, she goes. He has a fruit bath waiting for her. Jholee asks him, what are we doing? Like, what is this? Let's put a title on. Like, I need some clarification as to what we're doing. And TK tells her, you and me are us when we're together. And it's such a nigga response. And at first, she wasn't down for that. She was like, what? What does that even mean? And he just says, like, when it's me and you, we gonna do us. But any other time, like, I'm single, I can do what I want. Which just goes back to the post when he posted him and Cheyenne talking about Ben about you. It's like, okay, you want to be petty? I can be petty too. But like I also said, Jholee is young, so she doesn't get that. Because I'd have told him, I'm just like, okay, so when you see me out with somebody else, don't say nothing to me either. But they express their love to each other. But TK wants to remain single because he's been in a long 6-year on again, off again relationship with Cheyenne, and basically he's drained and he doesn't want to just jump back into something else. And for some reason, Jholee can understand that and she agrees to these terms. The next morning, Jholee accidentally answers TK's phone thinking it was hers. And it turns out that it was his mom, Sabrina, on the phone. And she just tells her, he'll call you back. Then she also sees text messages from Nazima that has her in her feelings. And TK just tells her to stay out of his phone. And she tells him, you don't have to worry about me ever again. And so he's like, what does that mean? And she gives him an ultimatum. Like, you're either going to be with me or you can have your hoes. And this fool says, why can't he have both? It's like, what you mean? Why you can't have both? Because, okay, you just got out of a long relationship, but I don't have to stay around waiting for you to be ready. So if you want to have your hoes, you can have your hoes. You just can't have me. So while they're having this conversation, Sabrina is standing at his door and hears everything. And when she hears Jholee stand up for herself, she has a little respect for her. And TK gives Jholee his Audi to drive. And after she leaves, TK is asked by his mom, is he trying to get Jholee pregnant on purpose? And his response is yes. And it's like, what? Explain this to me. Break this down. You don't want to be in a relationship, but you want to have a baby? And it's basically like his way of thinking, like, this will tie her to him if he gets her pregnant. And it's just like, this nigga logic I can't get with. When Jholee gets home, Lynetta is throwing Senior's things outside. While at the nail shop, she overhears girls talking about the Jholee Marshall sleeping with his physical therapist, Linda. And when Linda shows up, Jayla attacks her because it's like, you been sleeping with my daddy? I thought you were supposed to be helping him. And this is the definition of 3 kids being in the same house or having the same parents almost and being completely different. Because Jholee, Jayla, and Jholee Jr. are 3 completely different people. Like, Jholee is the good girl who doesn't really get into too much trouble. And Jayla is so rah-rah and the complete opposite of Jholee. So I really shouldn't say 3. That's more so towards Jholee and Jayla. Jayla stay ready to fight. She done got him about 4 or 5 fights over this series. And Jholee don't even know how to throw hands, which is so confusing to me. But anyway, Linda denies the allegations, but Senior fires her because he doesn't want his wife uncomfortable. And he tells her that he'll be in the bedroom when she's ready to apologize. And I wouldn't be in no bedroom. I'd be standing outside watching her pick all my shit up that she just threw outside. I'm just like, that part, I'll never understand that. I'm like, fam, don't touch my stuff. This is what I don't get. It's just like, okay, you're upset. I get that you're upset. Don't touch my stuff, though. Anyway, so Senior finally decides what he's going to do with the money. He wants to get Jholee her dance studio and reopen the family's chicken business. But Jholee tells him to just focus on the shack. She can wait. So Senior takes Jholee to his parents' old house so they can find those recipes that he was telling her about. But his brother is there with his daughter, Nazima. That's right. That makes Jholee and Nazima cousins. They go inside and try to find the recipe for the restaurant. Jholee is later at TK's house trying out one of the recipes for the chicken, and she asked him to stop seeing Nazima because they are related. And TK is thrown off guard because he has had sex with Nazima 3 times in the past week, and she hasn't mentioned that until he posts Jholee on his Instagram. Because while they're talking, Jholee kind of gets emotional, and he takes a picture of her cooking and calls her his little crybaby. So as soon as he posted, then Nazima texts him like, you know that's my cousin, right? And it's like, if you didn't tell him nothing, no, how was he supposed to know that that's your cousin? And so he tells her, you know, like, I'm good on you. I'm done talking to you, whatever. And TK voices his opinion of Senior getting over on Jholee. And he tells her she has given up so much that it's just in her nature to, I guess, be taken advantage of. And Jholee tells him what Senior said about his dad, you know, being the one responsible for shooting his mom. And TK tells her to get out his house. So they are off again. TK, if you remember, I said TK had planned on opening up a strip club. So his club is coming together, and no, is it a strip club? I think it's just a nightclub. He recently had sex with Cheyenne and Nazima within two days of each other. I don't know why we needed that information. Just him out here being a hoe. TK asks Carter about Senior's mom, and Carter denies it. He says, you know, I don't know how, what am I trying to say? How respectable your rules can be when you run a prostitution ring. But he says he doesn't kill women. So there's no way that he's responsible for killing, Senior's mom. Sabrina, Cheyenne, and Chastity show up, and Cheyenne talks TK about being in his feelings about Jholee being out on a date. And he's like, what? Because, you know, they're not talking, so he doesn't even know that she's out on a date. And TK asks Cheyenne how she knows, and it's because Cheyenne is following Jholee on Snapchat. And it's like, this is a person that you jumped and tried to jump again and seem to have a problem with. So why are you following her on social media? This is new age stuff that I don't get. Because if I have a problem with you, if anything, I'll block you so I don't see you, I don't come across you, and you are no part of my life. There's no way I'm keeping up with what you're doing if I claim to not like you. That makes no sense, but this is what everybody seems to be doing. And so he sees that she's on a date, and he finds out her location and shows up because he tries to call from his phone and gets no answer. And I believe he took his dad's phone or his mom's phone. Like, he took someone else's phone to call her. And it's like, man, where you at? What you doing? And it's like, why do you want to know this information? You put me out your house. You said we not talking no more. So why are you worried about what I'm doing? And he finds out her location and he shows up. And Jholee tells him that he needs to just leave her alone. Nazima and Cheyenne go out of their way to tag her and stuff online to show that he's still fucking with both of them. And she just wants to be removed from the narrative. Nazima even approached her at a game on campus to tell her that she's still fucking him. And it's just like, I want to be done with that. And for some reason, they have quote unquote closure sex, which means it's supposed to be really the last time. And Cheyenne is pregnant, but not by TK. She's pregnant by Major. But she goes to the university, which I don't understand how she's still allowed. Because if her and her sister came up there looking for Jholee to fight her in the first book and they were escorted off campus, I'm pretty sure it would have been some measures to make sure they were not allowed back on there. But anyway, she shows up to tell Jholee that she is pregnant by TK. And Jholee tells her, you know, congratulations. Can't wait to be a stepmama. You know, we gonna take care of the baby. You know, they ain't got nothing to do with you being with the daddy no more. And I was proud of her because she did stand up for herself in a way like, okay, you pregnant, whoop-de-whoop. I'm still with him. What that do for you? Jholee goes out with the same guy that she went out with the last time that TK took her from. And the guy sees TK at the takeout counter of the restaurant. I guess they just happen to be in at the same time. And TK smirks at him, but he just walks out. The guy, Matthew, has a baby mama and a fairly new baby. And Jholee can sense that he's still involved with the baby mama because he avoids telling the baby mama that he's out on the date. He just said, because she calls him while he's out on the date, and he says that he's out with a quote-unquote friend and she doesn't know him, instead of saying, like, you don't know her. And so Jholee tells him, you ain't got a lot to kick it. Just keep it real with me. And that's all we need. Like, you still got your situation going on. And I'm really kind of in my own little thing. And it's just like, I wouldn't be, even if he claimed, which he did claim nothing was going on. It's like, you got a fresh baby. A fresh baby. I know y'all still fucking on the low sometimes. So ain't no way I'm going to even put myself in that situation. So when she's getting out of the shower later that night, TK is standing in her room. And of course she screams out, because why wouldn't you scream out if you know you got in the shower alone and you step out and somebody's in your room? So her dad shows up and TK tells him, make him leave because I don't want to have to shoot your daddy. Because for some reason he brought a gun to her house. And so once she gets her dad to leave, she tries to also make TK leave, informing him of Cheyenne's pregnancy, And TK swears it's not by him. And for some reason now, I guess seeing her out on a date with somebody else showed him that I guess she got options just like he got options. So now he's ready to be in a committed relationship, which makes no sense. But just like a man, they don't want you till they see somebody else has you. So it's just like, you wanted to be single. You wanted to be free. You was good. Continue to be good. Why you worried about what I'm doing? And so now they are official. The last chapter is TK's grand opening. And him and Jholee, he has a red carpet. This is one of the things about books that I love. In a book, you can make this shit as over the top as you want. But anyway, they're scrolling the red carpet and everything is going great. Like he kisses her, he claims her in public. Everything is perfect until at one point in the night, Jholee steps into his office and she sees TK sitting in his chair and a mystery woman sitting on his desk in front of him. TK says, "Jholee, baby, it's not what it looks like." Okay, you guys, so that was the end of book 2. And I just want to do a quick recap of what has happened so far in the first 2 books before we get to the final book. So in book 1, we have Jholee adjusting to having to give up some of her things, like her car, her apartment, and she was a full-time student. Now she's only going to school part-time, and she either has to catch an Uber or catch rides with her friend Octavia or Riley. And we also discover that her quote-unquote friend, Riley, is not really her friend. She's a hater in disguise. She doesn't really want to see Jholee happy. And she's really plotting on the chance to show Jholee up. That was one of the things that I kind of really harped on in my mind in the book when I read that she really only wanted to get with TK so she could get access to his money so she can stunt on Jholee. And it's just like, how do you want to stunt on your friend or somebody that you call your friend? And then we have Jholee and TK meeting under the circumstances of her wanting to sell her virginity, and even that being an issue of still being a thing of selling your virginity for money. And TK saw from the beginning that she wasn't cut out for that work, because when she first showed up and he's like, would you be willing to do all different kind of sexual acts, and she wasn't ready, she wasn't prepared. And it's like, men want the idea of a virgin, which you're not actually being a virgin. So it's just like, no one wants to take the time of basically breaking you in. And I know that's crass, but basically, like, that's what it is, breaking you in. They want you to be a dirty little slut while looking like a little innocent schoolgirl. And so he promises her, well, not promises, but tells her like he can look into getting her different type of work. And he never really pulled through on that. And it's like, without even knowing him, she is attacked by his girlfriend and his girlfriend's sister. So they just met. The relationship was off to a rocky start. And then you have her getting with TK, like them hanging out and kissing and having like a relationship without it actually being a relationship, and just doing things without a title, while she's still trying to make it a goal with Major, who she doesn't even really like. He's just somebody that she likes to have around. And then we end the first book with her meeting someone on Instagram, and her just talking to this person, not even knowing who this person is. You just talking to them on Instagram, and you think you're about to fly out and sell your virginity. And then you get the scare of thinking you're about to be, trigger warning, gang raped, but you're not. It was actually your friend wanting to teach you a lesson about not talking to people on the internet, because you don't know what you're walking into. And then him actually taking Jholee's virginity, and then her still asking for the money after, and him getting upset about her asking for the money instead of communicating why he is upset. He just kicks her out of his car and cuts her off. And then when he finds out that she's still going on with her life and dating, of course, he pops back in and just inserts himself into her life and tells her, what was the dumb shit he said? When it's me and you, it's us. But when I'm outside, basically I'm doing me, which makes no sense. So it's like, we can only have a relationship in the house. And at that point, she goes with it anyway, because they said, I love you to each other, which makes no sense. It's literally like, I love you is a band-aid, and it's just covering to make things all better. And then because they have a discussion about TK's father possibly killing Jholee's grandmother, they're off again. And then, while all of this is going on, TK is still dealing with Cheyenne, Riley, and now we have been introduced to Jholee's cousin, Nazima. So TK has 3 other women besides Jholee that he's trying to juggle. And then when when Jholee is tired of the roller coaster, she gets off, but TK pulls her right back in, and it's like, I'm not done with you yet. And then it's really just a game of back and forth of, do I want you? Yes, but I don't want to be tied down. Because now that he's finally done with Cheyenne, I guess for good this time, he doesn't want to be in a relationship. It's like, I've been in a relationship for 6 years. I'm tired of that. I just want to be free. I'm just trying to chill, Like, it ain't even really that serious. That's not my vibe right now. I'm just trying to chill out. So then they have closure sex, which I will never acknowledge as being a real thing. That's just something that people make up to make themselves feel better about having sex with someone for the very last time, even though they're garbage and that they are no good for you. But I'm gonna let y'all have it. And then she goes out on a date again. Because the first date that she was on, he pops up and like takes her away from the date. And then when he sees her out, he doesn't say anything. She doesn't even know that he's there. Her date, who is the same guy from last time, sees him. And then later that night, he just pops up while she's in the shower, saying that he's ready for a real relationship. Then we have the grand opening of his store. Lord have mercy. Of his club. And then Jholee just happens to walk in as a woman is sitting like with her legs gapped open in front of him at his desk. And this is how the second book ends. And I don't know. Like, I don't know how to feel. It's so much drama for like, what, maybe a 2-month relationship? If you even want to call it that, because it's not even really a relationship. It's like y'all haven't even really dated, and y'all families are too intertwined, you know, in a way of you being Jholee even thinking that your, I'm gonna call TK her friend at this point, you thinking that your friend's dad could have possibly killed your grandmother. Even if that was a possibility, I don't see how I could date you. And the fact that if that was the case, Carter is still just walking around. But there's no concrete evidence that he killed Jholee's grandmother. And even then, just her grandmother randomly getting killed with no explanation just because her son is in the drug game. What does him being in the drug game have to do with her life? And then, even then, because it's like 2 years ago. Oh, I don't even think we've gotten to that part. But I'm going to do a little spoiler. Because Jholee's parents are relatively young. It almost doesn't make sense how young they are. But Lynetta had Jholee when she was young. So it's just like, y'all were babies having babies. And I think that's another reason why Lynetta can't really be a mother to Jholee, because it's almost like she had to grow up when she had Jholee. So they're almost kind of friends and can't really be mother and daughter. And that's sad, because Lynetta, child, piece of work. But we're going to get into that in the final book. And I think that's when I'm going to have my most to say. So anyway, this is where I'm going to wrap it up. And I hope you guys have a great night. And I hope you enjoyed my retelling / reviewing / running my mouth of Jholee and Kiandre Against the In His Good Girl Part 2. And like I said, next week I'm going to be wrapping it up, or next episode, because I've kind of been churning these out lately, you know, knocking them out, getting my feel of doing this whole podcast thing. And I'm still learning, but I think I'm getting in my groove. So this is this would be episode 4 for me, and I'm doing pretty good. So with that being said, I hope you guys have a great day. I hope you enjoyed the episode. Like I said, I hope you're liking my podcast. Please subscribe to my podcast. Tell people about my podcast, you know, get me out there. And also, I do have a YouTube called Erica the Bibliophile. You can subscribe if you like. I do have a Twitter, E the Bibliophile. You can follow if you like. And I also have an Instagram at Erica _the Bibliophile. You can also follow me there if you like. Peace.